3.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Guru TV. I'm your host Jason Sutton, and today we're going to talk about a very common problem, or one of the most probably frequently answered questions that we get, and that's the transition. What starts the downswing? Matt from Charlotte made a comment on my blog about he was having trouble with what was starting his downswing, and then we're going to talk about a couple of issues he was having, and then I got a good drill that we talked about last week using the dowel rod or using a shaft that's going to help you to practice this. So let's talk about transition. Transition is simply the change in direction from the backswing to the forward swing. And everybody wants to know what starts the downswing, and there's probably a million different answers out there. So we're just going to talk about a couple of ideas that I think they're going to clarify some things that hopefully is going to help you in your practice. So I've got the noodle set up here, as you can see, and like I said, you can use the dowel rod, but just because this is TV and I want it to be a little bit more visual, I think the noodle is going to be a little bit easier for you to understand. So as I set up, I want to place the noodle just a few inches outside my left foot, in the middle of my left foot. And that's going to help me to really learn to post and rotate, which is one of the things that we're going to talk about in the transition. So what starts the downswing? Well, I feel like as we get to the top of our backswing, the first thing that starts the downswing is a small lateral shift to the left with the the lower body. So as you notice, when I start down, there's two things that happen. My left hip moves towards the target and my hands and the golf club drop. And that's a very important thing to point out, because what we see a lot of players do is two things. One, they either overslide, right? So we have too much softness in the left leg, or as Matt's case, he said his hips are actually backing up, right? Which is the opposite problem. Both are things that we don't want to do, and both are not going to allow you to create a good impact position, which is really the goal of all of our shots. So let's talk about the backing up problem. Let's help Matt today. So as we are starting in our downswing here, for Matt, he needs to feel like his left hip gets to the noodle before he starts to turn, before he starts to rotate. And you'll notice what happens when I do that is my lead leg, or my front leg, starts to straighten. This is what we call posting. Very, very important part into creating a good, solid impact position. And it also creates speed, which is going to allow you to hit the ball farther. So as I start down, I want to make sure my left hip gets just to the noodle, start to rotate, which pulls my handle forward to the face, and you can see how straight my left side is. And then as I go into my finish, everything will be pretty much straight up and down into my finished position. So let me go ahead and hit one for you here so you can see what it looks like. So you'll notice that my lower body moved forward, but I didn't crash into the noodle, right? So that's very important. And once we get the left hip forward, we have to make sure we're rotating. And what this is going to allow you to do is separate your upper body from your lower body. So when we rotate, the last thing we want to do for you over the toppers is allow our upper body to rotate too soon. So if we're looking at it more down the line here, as I pivot and I move forward, my hands and club are going to drop. So now you can see my spine is tilted backwards, the club has dropped into the slot, and I'm in a great position to hit the ball from the inside. So let's talk now about sliding. Another great way to work on this transition. Because what I see a lot of folks doing out there, because they maybe have been told to get to their left side or to shift their weight too soon, is that they're going to slide too much. So they end up having to catch the club back up with their hands, and then they end up scooping or flipping too much. So we don't want to slide past this line. We want to make sure that we're getting to the line and then rotating. So for you players out there that are sliding too much, you want to hit shots and make sure that you're not touching the noodle. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have a little bit of movement forward and then we turn and rotate. You probably won't even feel like you're going to move to your left side at all if you slide too much. Again, it's just a feel thing, obviously. So you might want to feel like all you're doing is just basically dropping the club to the inside and tilting your spine backwards, which is going to allow you to get the ball from the inside. So, two problems that we're having there in the transition. So let's review. The transition, or the downswing, starts with a small lateral move. As you can see, my left knee just gets over my left ankle before my left hip starts to rotate. So we don't want to slide too much, and we definitely don't want to spin out or back up, because we want just a few inches of slide and then rotation in order to hit it. So let's hit one more shot for you. We got the noodle just outside the left foot. Right on up and through, good balance. Very solid every time. Alright, so keep the questions coming. Great question, Matt. I hope this helps you. This is just another idea of how you can use simple things like a dowel rod or a noodle and a shaft to really help you to get more production out of your practice and get better feedback really out of your practice. So, we'll see you next time on Guru TV. Keep the questions coming, and I hope to see you on the lesson tee.